One of the most inspiring entrepreneurs I know is David Rogier, the visionary who started MasterClass, the online streaming platform where you can learn from the world's best, famous experts in nearly every category. David gives entrepreneurs a great piece of advice. Pursue an idea that, even if it fails, you'll be proud of it. In my conversation with David at MasterClass headquarters in San Francisco, he told me that passion and curiosity are two essential elements entrepreneurs must have to launch a successful business. He also told me an inspiring story about his grandmother that sparked his love for education and his idea for MasterClass.
First, on passion. Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And it's also one of the best things, but it's one of the hardest things. And you need the passion to carry you through those really hard times. And also that passion drives you to figure out how to improve it, how to change it, how to build something new. I definitely remember, when I had the idea for MasterClass, I would tell people the idea, and people would tell me it's impossible, it's never going to happen. They list you a whole list why. And so much of life, I think we're trained to want the approval of other people. So when you hear that, you're like, oh shoot, right? Like, is the idea not good enough? Am I not good enough? And then what I realized I had to change in my mindset was that when somebody says something is impossible, that is actually a sign that you should probably race to that idea. Because if the idea was possible and it was obvious it was possible, everybody else would have already done the idea. So the idea that something is impossible is probably a sign that other people think it's impossible, but you have the passion and an insight that you think you can make that actually occur.
In the second grade, your grandmother told you a story that in some ways sparked your idea for MasterClass.
Yeah.
What happened in the second grade?
I was in part raised by my grandmother. And in second grade, after school, I came to her house, and I had a snack at her house, and I was complaining to her about all the math homework I had, which obviously I didn't have a lot because I was in second grade, but I was still whiny. And my grandma tells me that she has a story to tell me, which, like, when you're in second grade, is the last thing that you want to hear. And she tells me this story. So when my grandmother was 16 years old, she was living in Krakow in Poland. Her and her mom went on a family vacation. Dad's going to join. He stays home a couple extra days to finish work. And while he's on vacation, the Nazis invaded. They took everything and killed her father. And she flees with her mom and is able to make it to New York. And they apply for jobs, and the only job they are able to get is on a factory floor, and they're working side by side. And my grandma decides she wants to become a doctor. Applies to every medical school in the state of New York. This is all by hand, right? This is before a computer. They all say no. Keeps working in the factory side by side with her mom. Applies again next year to all the schools in New York. They all say no. She decides to reach out to the deans of admissions of all these schools and ask, why am I not getting in? And they all refuse to answer except for one, who says, I'll be honest with you. You have 3 strikes against you. You're a woman, you're an immigrant, and you're Jewish, and hangs up. My grandmother keeps working in the factory, applies again the next year to all schools in the state of New York, gets into one, and becomes a doctor. And I'm staring at her because this is intense stuff to be hearing from just having complained about math homework. And my grandma goes, David, the point I'm trying to make to you is education is the only thing that someone can't take away from you. And when it came time to start something, I realized I wanted to create something other people can't take away from others, and that was a big part of starting MasterClass.
We are made of stories. The stories we hear growing up and the stories of what we hope to achieve, our dreams, goals, and vision for the future. Embrace the stories that make you who you are. You never know when those stories will spark the next great idea that might change the world.